Thanks for joining me, guys. Welcome to AMGN Gaming News with me, AmeerMortal. So today we ask the question, were reviewers too harsh on Days Gone and Anthem? It may sound like a bit of a strange question, and Days Gone and Anthem may seem like games that don't have much in common, but they kind of do, due to the fact that they were kind of slammed with their early reviews. They both reviewed quite badly compared to the expectations. So some of my favourite games are things like Spider-Man, the Uncharted series, God of War, Red Dead 2, Assassin's Creed Odyssey Origins as well, NBA 2K, FIFA, all that kind of stuff. So it may surprise you that I love Days Gone and I love Anthem, but for very different reasons. So basically, they were slammed when they came out, and critics were so disappointed by them. For me, this basically all comes down to timing. Releasing a game like that, in the case of Anthem specifically, as you probably read in Kotaku's expose all about that, it was basically exposed that the production of Anthem was rushed towards the end. They had to get the game out, and they were forced to push it out the door early. And then with Days Gone, there was just different issues and different perspectives on the quality of that game really in the end. So it leads us to the question, should they have been pushed out of the door so quickly, and should there have been other ideas, other approaches considered? For example, going into early access, or even releasing them as demos, or enticing people with something else, but not the full game necessarily at the time, building up a bit more anticipation for them. Or on top of that, they could have even delayed the games. Again, not from the business side of things, just from the fan side of things. It would have been great if we could have got a more polished article in the end. But some things go on behind closed doors. It's a business in the end, and quite a few people were quite disappointed. But I feel that these are games that are examples of games that were released and had an initially disappointing impact, but have pulled it together. Now I know that Anthem is still disappointing people with its content, but you've got to think about it. Or if you've played it, you will understand this. The gameplay is great. It is a really enjoyable type of game to play. So the issue is just mainly content. There are a lot of problems with the content. I do admit that, but the game itself is still fantastic. And we think about things coming out as a 10. This has to come out. There's so much anticipation around it. We're expecting it to be a 10 or a 9 at least, on its reviews, and then it comes out and it's like a 7 or a 6 or whatever. And then that puts people off completely. And I would say that this is kind of the secret, kind of unspoken side of game purchasing, is that if you hold off a little bit, some of these games can be slow burns. And like I did, I actually was a little bit reticent at the beginning because of all the reviews. So I waited a little bit. I waited a couple of months in the case of Anthem, and about a month or so in the case of Days Gone. And I felt better for it basically, and some of the issues had been fixed by the time I got to the game, etc. So a little bit of patience on our sides as well helps. And my other piece of advice is just don't get too distracted by all the criticism, because people like to use the internet for extreme criticism. It's quite black and white a lot of the time. If it's not perfect in the eye of the consumer or the critic, then it's just this terrible disaster. Having said that, proper criticism, professional critics like those you know, well, I mean, there's loads of professionals out there, even if they're not working for these big companies like IGN. But IGN is a great example with loads of great professionals working there. Game Informer, Kotaku, Giant Bomb, Kind of Funny, they're all great at their jobs, and I really think they did do their jobs. This is the thing I kind of want to defend here, is that they came under a lot of criticism, you know, specifically, you know, aiming criticism at some of the reviewers, saying, you know, you shouldn't have, I completely disagree, you're doing a disservice to the game, etc., etc. They did their jobs, you know. At the end of the day, the game came out in that state, and they have to time their reviews, you know. This is another thing about timing, and coming back to my theme here. Games come out, we expect the reviews when the game is released, so these outlets are kind of forced into giving us their perspective at the beginning, and a lot of these games just aren't good enough initially, so we've got to be a bit more patient, basically, I think, as fans, and just hold off a bit and see what happens with some games. Some games are just almost a guaranteed hit when you see that there's so much anticipation for a game and it comes out and it's immediately getting like 10s and 9s everywhere, then you can, you know, it's a different story. But when it's in that grey area, the area in the middle there between, you know, a 6 and a 10, then you have to wait a little bit. That's my perspective on that one. So I do want to reiterate, though, that I don't think that Days Gone, neither Anthem are 10s. You know, they're not, from my humble perspective, they're not necessarily up there with games like, you know, Breath of the Wild and Red Dead 2 and these kind of games I love, and, you know, they're not on my favorites list, but they are still fantastic. So you know, give the 7s, the 8s, the 9s a shot. You know, give them a shot. Don't just think, okay, they didn't meet the mark, or they didn't meet my outrageous expectations, I'm just going to leave it, because I'm having so much fun with Days Gone in particular right now. And when I initially got Anthem, I just had an amazing couple of weeks with it as well. So you know, it's really enjoyable. And Anthem also, by the way, has such a good opening. But anyway, I could go on and on about this. I'm not going to get into too much detail, and it's a really subjective thing, of course. But my philosophy is, you know, enjoy the game, things you love, and celebrate, promote the things that you love. So with that message, I'll leave you guys. Thank you very much for joining me today. Yeah, so remember to like, share, subscribe, leave your comments below, and follow me on Twitter. Plus, go to my Patreon on patreon.com/AmeerMortal and throw me some help if you can. Thanks, guys. See you next time.